I suppose.
Okay. So, after roughly a year going through the protagonist swaps, we're finally reaching the end. I think it's been a year. I could be wrong. We're basically reaching
This
the
has
end.
been such a journey.
We're reaching the end of season 1. So we're finishing off Kratos' last journey through DMC. Obviously, going through DMC 5, he will be taking the place of Dante. So I guess we technically start at mission 10 then, right? Because that's the prologue.
Mission 0 because we go to the prologue.
Yes, but like, doesn't that include mission 10 or 11? Which one is it that like is the prologue?
That includes mission 10. Mission 10 and prologue are the same thing.
Yeah. So we're on mission 10 then.
So I think given that he's put in Dante's position for the protagonist swap packages, I can clearly say with that and Lady and Trish accompanying him, he's probably going to make it to Urizen pretty easily. In this scenario, he'll just be spawned into Dante's shop, same as ever. He'll have the same conditions, same criteria as everything. He's like, oh, I've come here for another bout with the mystical and the mysterious in this crazy Wonderland world, and now I have a job from this random guy with scoliosis to go kill a demon king, of which I'm dreading, but whatever. I'll do it for my family or something. And then, he gets Trish and Lady's help, because all the same events regarding Morrison recruiting still happens. Although I guess Morrison has to be introduced to him because he's never seen Morrison before.
He's like, I'm gonna give Dante his jobs. Whatever this Dante is, it sounds disappointing. So
sounds like a failed businessman.
So yeah, we obviously get to the events of the Qliphoth.
Yeah, there's not really anything in there that's like dangerous as far as like demons are concerned because he's still in the same position. Plus, he can just run past them.
Yes. So we just kind of make our way through to Urizen then?
Yeah, because the only thing he fights up until that point are, like, I guess, Angelos, but, like, we could just assume he, like... Like, since he could still interact with them, since we're giving them packages that he can just kill them and they just get, like, BFR temporarily. Well, they just die and they reform somewhere in the demon world. But the barriers drop around the room so he can leave anyway. So he gets to Urizen, and same events are happening with Trish and Lady. They still get tacked out. And since he's in Dante's position of power, we can argue he would be able to tank the blasts that Dante can tank and inflict the damage that Dante can inflict. However, unlike Dante, he's not getting progressively stronger as the fight continues because he does not have Dante's physiology. He just has his stats and, like, you know, his specific position in the... he has, like, a protagonist swap package. He's not, like, literally Dante, obviously, or any DMC, like, demon. So... like, even though Urizen's already stronger than him, the difference in power is going to eclipse him very, very quickly. Because even Dante, at the end of the prologue, once he went into Devil Trigger, could at least force Urizen to, like, block his attacks. Though Urizen obviously one-shots him, like, afterwards. This is going to be a little bit more blunt. Though I'll say that kind of like what I had with... kind of like what I was going to argue with Zim... or mentioned the Zim in previous protagonist swap packages. I don't know if we should penalize Kratos for losing here because the main character, or the character in this question, is scripted to lose. Dante is supposed to lose this fight. That's supposed to happen. So if Kratos is in his position and he loses, I don't know if we would really count that against him, against one of his 3 lives.
I would say
because
no.
he is supposed to lose.
Yeah, I'd say no.
Yeah. So he's probably just going to get punched out of the Qliphoth. Same situation as Dante with the Sparta sword. Nero still shows up, pretends to be a threat, and then proceeds to leave as a disappointment. The same time though happens. I'll be honest, everything up to the same missions, up to, I guess, like mission 11, which is when he wakes up, is going to be the exact same. the Sparta sword is able to hold Dante's presence away, not just because of its raw power, but can also because it can like hide his like presence, or it can conceal his presence subtly with his raw power. The same thing would be happening here.
Yes. So he just wakes up. V wakes him up. V's like, "You're the only one who can do this," even though we all know it's not true at this point. But V says it anyways.
He says it anyway.
Gives him the pep talk he needs, and then Kratos goes through Mission 11, which I think besides just the final boss is not going to be too difficult.
Not going to be a problem, really.
Yeah, not yet.
So we'll just say he gets through most of the castle or most of the city ruins. Basically, it's just a bunch of riots and some like
just a bunch of losers.
Some chaoses, random Hell Judeca that nobody gives a fuck about. And then I guess like an Angelo or two, and then eventually he'll get to Cavalier. So Cavalier is much stronger than them, but Cavalier is also just Trish's power at this point, and you can't even prove Trish's like scales to like anime Dante. So if Kratos in this case has the kit, or at least the level of power that 5 Dante has, Cavalier's gonna die. Now the question is, will he kill Trish? Because I think if he sees her in there, he would probably attempt to save her. I don't think he would just like cut her to ribbons. He'd be like, "Oh, a naked woman in there."
Source.
I'll do what any responsible man would do.
Kratos will
save her from hentai Japan.
I don't think that'd be Kratos' provocative. At any rate, I mean, she probably lives.
Well,
because he'll be. I mean, he's gonna be stabbing her, but like, she'll probably just walk it off.
Well, he can also just see in there, because after Dante cut off the side of the Cavalier, he was able to look inside and saw like her in there, so he'll recognize Trish and be like, "Oh, that's where she went." The problem comes right now at Mission 12, because the reason Dante is able to go through the game at Mission 12 is because he knows where he has to go. So he doesn't have a definitive answer for where Yurzin is location-wise. He just realizes, like, hey, I need to get to my house to do something. But the problem is that Dante only got there specifically because he drove through the city at a certain point, and he knew the route to his house, including the secret passageway out of his house, because he grew up there. Kratos does not have this knowledge. So, are we just going to say that he'll just, like, chain blade his way across the top of buildings until he gets to the Qliphoth, like the outside of the Qliphoth structure directly, and then just starts crawling?
Well, remember that V shows up after the fight,
I don't
so you
think
can just have V give the information if you really needed him to.
Yeah. Well, actually, he wouldn't have a reason to leave immediately.
Yeah, so you can
V could probably just tell him.
Granted, without the rebellion or the Sword Sparta... Well, I mean, he does have the Sword Sparta technically, but without the rebellion, it's not doing much of anything.
Yeah, we'll just say that when he gets to the end of Mission 12 and arrives at the house...
I just don't think Mission 12 happens.
I
think Kratos would just go stop, like, fucking... he would just go fight Yurzin again. V would probably, like...
Well, so to go fight Yurzin, he would have to climb the outside of the Qliphoth. Or go in directly. So that's why I said, like, it's more likely that he just chain blades his way across the rooftops until he sees the giant Qliphoth structure, chain blades his way onto the wall, and just climbs up until he gets to the top.
Yep.
Of course, it would technically mean Mission 12 takes longer because he has to go to the top, and then he has to go back down, because technically the Qliphoth, according to Trish, is, since it's a demon world tree, it's in reverse. So you have to go up to the top to go back to the bottom to get to the top.
It's okay. It's not like Nero's in danger or anything.
Well, I'm saying Nero might actually just die. Because I think his transit time is going to be a little bit longer because he has to climb up the side of the wall. He'll still get there, but like Nero's probably going to be a corpse.
Well,
by then.
now hang on a minute. If he's as fast as Dante, he can surely make it.
Yeah, but I don't think he knows the Qliphoth is like in reverse, and I don't think anyone would assume that because he'd just be like, "Oh, it's just a supernatural tree." It's like, why the fuck would it be reversed? That'd be stupid.
If Trish isn't dead, maybe she wakes up and tells him, "Hey, you gotta go downwards."
No, Trish is unconscious for quite some time.
I think she's unconscious.
She's unconscious for like 10 or 15 minutes.
I was gonna say that's not a lot of time. Have you heard V talk? It's gonna be the entire length of V's explanation.
Are we gonna say we wait around so that we don't have to watch him awkwardly climb up the Qliphoth, shows up to fight Urizen, and then Nero's already dead. Oh. That's kind of hilarious.
KDA just points him in the right direction, casually, just like swats him down to the right spot. But no, Sano.
So yeah, we'll argue he gets to mission 12, climbs in, flies his way in, and then destroys the roots that are crushing Nero. So at this point, we kind of already established that Prologue Urizen would beat him. He has not gotten exponentially stronger or anything, and since he wasn't Dante, didn't have Dante's physiology, the tree didn't recognize him as Urizen, so he didn't get pumped full of human blood, and even if he did, it wouldn't do anything for him because he doesn't have that physiology. He also doesn't have Rebellion, so he has no way to fuse the Sparta Sword to make DSD to make himself stronger. So he just has the Sparta Sword, which doesn't activate because Mundus isn't around or is alive. So
he just dies here?
I would say Urizen is going to kill him really quickly. Urizen is probably going to kill him. Now, Griffin's probably going to take Nero outside somewhere, as he does. And I would say that we'll have to use a freebie here. Though I'm not sure. I guess Urizen will just kill him, right? He'll just be like, man, this seems kind of familiar. But the Qliphoth's revealed in its entirety, so I can leave here, and then he just teleports down to the stage, and then Kratos gets up and is like, "Wow,
well,
here we go."
Well, that felt familiar.
Round 2. I don't know why that guy whose face was covered with a freaking tentacle seemed like really like
familiar.
I don't know why I'm getting sense of deja vu. It's like the second time this has happened. Oh well. Third, if I count that weird-haired kid.
Yeah. So then we go to.
And then I guess
13.
3 warriors.
Which should go.
Yeah, 3 warriors.
That should just go fine, regardless. There's nothing really there that's going to cause problems, and Nero and V they're fighting alongside Kratos, so it shouldn't be a problem.
So I think Kratos at this point is going to propose that Nero take the Sparta Sword. Because he'll just say, like, look, it's a great weapon, but I have no use for it. And V over here has already asserted that you should have it. So I think it'd probably be a good idea for you to take it anyway. At which point Nero's going to be like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Like, figure it out. Then just leaves. No explanation. Also, I think Kratos, given the situation, if he were told the information, would just give it to Nero. Because if he knows that it's tactically more effective in someone else's hands, he wouldn't have any reason to keep it anymore.
Kratos will just give it up relatively quickly because it doesn't work for him.
Yeah, no, because Nero, he would just be like, well, you need to be a descendant of Sparta. I was like, well, Nero's a descendant of Sparta. Okay, problem solved.
Kid, you look familiar.
Yeah. So I'll just say, yeah. Well, so I'll just say that they'll just jump off, basically start in the same spot, land in a different spot, start in the same spot. Nonsense.
DMC5 clearly mixed up the cutscenes.
And then we'll basically have all the same scenes for mission 15, 14, 13, and then until we get to 16, which involves him basically fighting the King Cerberus at the end of the level. Because I'm going to be honest, no demons up until that point are going to threaten him. No demons really. Like only King Cerberus.
Wait, hang on a minute.
And I'll be honest. Even in
what about the Fury?
Go ahead.
What about the Fury?
What about the Fury?
You think Kratos?
What about the fucking
You
Fury?
think Kratos with these stats can beat the Fury?
I mean, he scales vastly above Demon King level. The Fury's fast, but so are the Demon Kings.
Very well then. Carry on.
I'm pretty sure he's in their tier, but like, they can move fast and think. The Fury can only do one of those things.
If you claim so. All right, so then.
So I think for King. Well, go ahead.
Well, no, okay, so then we get to King Cerberus then.
I don't think King Cerberus is going to be able to do much here. I understand that he has way better versions of his elemental abilities than most characters in the series. He just explicitly has better fire manipulation, ice manipulation, lightning manipulation than other users. But it doesn't really matter if you're dealing with like a Demon King level threat, because like we don't have like definitive evidence for where he scales other than that he has like better powers and abilities than these characters. If he had higher fire than like Balrog, maybe we could argue he could do something to Kratos. But that would only be for the fire stage, which is arguably his weakest stage, combat-wise, because it doesn't have anything. He just stomps around. Not to mention Kratos has fought, like, lumbering enemies before. Like, King Cerberus is literally the perfect enemy for him. Just has elemental abilities, most of which are pretty reasonable, has a giant hurt box that he can hit, is completely usable. He's also used to fighting Cerberuses before. He's literally fought multiple giant Cerberuses.
Hang on. Are we going to say that Kratos just completely resists, like when King Cerberus turns the entire stage to ice and freezes everything?
Well, the thing is that his ice is just better than Bale's. But, like, I'm pretty sure he can resist that level of ice if he has 5 Dante stats. Because 4 Dante can already resist Bale's ice. So, like, I would just argue his general demonic power is way better. But, so King Cerberus is going to get taken for a walk.
No weapon for Kratos, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately. And then we'll arrive at mission 17. Which is going to be weird.
Yes, because technically, not only does Kratos lose this fight, but if I don't even think he dropped Urizen enough for V to get back into Virgil. Yes,
so V might die. However, I think I have a solution. While Kratos is dying, Nero might, using the Sparta Sword, might opt to use the Bringer to absorb the power of the Devil Sword Sparta. Because the Bringer is capable of absorbing demonic power directly.
No, he doesn't have it, remember?
What are you talking about?
The Devil Wait, you mean his arm, right?
Oh, yeah. Damn it. He doesn't... Well, great. Now we have to come up with an explanation for what he does to get the Devil Bringer, because technically all he needs to do is Devil Trigger, but the problem is Virgil's not back, so he doesn't have an emotional enough reason, and Dante's been yeeted out of the DMC verse. So
we have one other option. V, in a desperate attempt to get back into Virgil, while Urizen's distracted punting Kratos across the field, V does a sneak attack and merges with Urizen.
No, that wouldn't fucking work.
Yes, it would.
That's so... No.
It's the only way. It's the only strategy.
No,
it's the only strategy left to us.
It's not.
Wait.
By
all means, I'd love to hear your strategy.
What if we just have Nero just still over there, self-actualized power?
No, he
can't. Because he wants revenge.
But he can't do that right now because he has like next to no demonic power. Remember, that's confirmed.
He can't. Well, actually, he can after getting the on. That's established. He can. That's how he's literally able to unlock a Devil Trigger.
Yes, after getting, basically. Well, I guess.
So here's where I'm going with this.
He just has rage. Like
that's where we get there. He's gonna use his rage.
I would just argue that's not likely, Mingler, because that's not what happened earlier. Except the V sneak attack.
Oh my god.
Except the Nightmare V sneak attack.
Send them to the underworld, and the blast just does nothing.
Listen, Urizen's gonna
It's
be
like,
like, what's with this light show? And then V's just gonna stab from behind. Nothing personal, kid.
So stupid. It's just like, V, where did you get this speed? Don't worry about it. I'll see you on the other side, kid.
Thank you, Nero. Then he disappears. You're welcome.
Okay, so I think it's very likely in this possibility that Kratos is probably gonna die because we can't find an explanation for what Nero could do to use the Sparta sword, and the Sparta sword doesn't identify doesn't identify Urizen as Mundus, so there's nothing he can do until he awakens. If he had the Devil Bringer, he could have just absorbed the demonic energy from Sparta until he got strong enough,
listen,
and then could just grab Urizen.
Okay, listen. I'll give the Spark Notes version here quickly. Either A, Kratos gets back up 2 more times and dies to the same Urizen, or B, Virgil comes back because V sneak attacks him. Kratos probably loses to the summons, or just dies twice to Virgil.
You know what? You know what would be hilarious is if he
he
is
does
about to
die
kill
to
V.
the summons because he can't beat Shadow.
Wait, hang on. He goes to fight fucking what's it called? Urizen goes to fight V after he's killed Kratos, and then when he stabs V, V attempts to fuse with him and then pushes him to the Shadows dimensions, where he just reenacts the scene from Visions of V. And then Urizen's like, "What the fuck? I ate the fruit. I have everything."
Sorry.
He's like, "It doesn't matter. You're dying now."
Listen, just let it happen.
Also, for anyone who's wondering what we're referring to, in Visions of V, even though both Urizen and V are literally like completely out of stamina and basically on the verge of death, V, once he stabs the cane into Urizen's body, he is literally able to fight him. He's able to fight Fruit Urizen in the summons dimension. And he doesn't have any damage on his body. He's able to fight him at full strength with the summons, and he beats Urizen. So if he can get him in that space, he can beat him. That's already been proven. So I'm just going to argue that Urizen, when he stabs him, happens. He stabs the cane into his body.
No, sneak attack.
And he's just like, what the fuck?
All right. Yeah, so that's about it. There's not too much else to say here. Either A, Virgil comes back, kill... Well, actually, Virgil would kill... Well, no, it's because Kyle's messaging me.
Well, hang on. No. Kratos would come back because he lost a life being killed by Urizen.
Yes, then Virgil...
And then Virgil would return and he'd be like, oh my god, not again.
The PTSD, Kratos just instinctively attacks out PTSD rage. Virgil kills him, and then he has 1 life left. I actually completely forgot that, Kratos would probably get PTSD from the guy who, one-shot him repeatedly, 20 years ago. Yeah, no. So, regardless, it's not ending well for Kratos going forward. And that's, again, giving benefit of doubt that V could even get Virgil back.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yes. So, that'll be the end of Kratos' journey through DMC 5. During the Q&A, we'll expound on this a little more, probably, for a few more ideas of what could have happened. And, yeah, thank you guys for your time, as always, and have a nice day.